Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Creative CEO. I'm Georgie Turner, an equestrian fine artist. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about how you can actually build your business from scratch. If you are at the point where you have decided that you want to make your creative dreams a reality and actually turn it into a business, then I am going to talk to you today about how I did that and some advice that I would give you. If you didn't listen to last week's episode where I talked about my journey as an artist, please go back and listen. I talk about the journey that I've been on and how I managed to even get to this point in the first place. I was asked a question recently about how you do actually get started. And if you listen to last week's episode, you will have understood the moment when I full on decided that I was going to make this a reality. When that happened, I didn't have any direction really. I didn't really know where I was going with it. And luckily, social media was already quite established. And that's where I first went to get inspiration from other artists and to start learning about how I even grow my art and turn it into a business. I want to just address that word business to start with, because someone once told me, I was talking about my art to them and I kept calling it a business, and they pulled me up on it and they said, "Why do you keep calling it a business?" And I was like, "Because it is." And they like arguing with me about whether I was like a true artist because I kept calling it an art business. And I definitely disagreed with them, because I was like, unless someone is going to magically buy my art, if I'm just at my home creating art, how else am I going to sell my art unless I turn it into a business? So don't be afraid to use the term business when you're talking about your art or your creative business, because it doesn't stop you from being an artist. I've always said that I feel like the art side is probably about 40% of the work, and then the rest of it, the marketing, the admin, the emailing clients, like everything else, that's more like 60%. So actually, if you're going to turn your creative outlet, whatever you like to do, if you're going to make money from it, you are going to have to turn it into a business. So don't be afraid to call it an art business. It doesn't stop you from being a true artist. All it does is it's turning your work into something that you can monetize from. If you don't want to do the business side of it, then you should probably approach galleries or approach somebody that's going to sell your work for you. But lots of people listening to this will be people like me who are working on this on their own and they want to sell their work themselves. So don't be afraid to use that word business, and it doesn't stop you from being a true artist. So I would first of all think about what your why is, why you're doing this. What is the actual purpose? Why do you want to go full time with your business? Write down your why and write down a dream ideal day. And the reason that I'm asking you to do this is because it helps you to stay focused and to stay motivated. And it helps you to, when things come up and they seem really difficult, like they do every single day, like in my reality, there is something that crops up every single day that I find really difficult. And I have to constantly remember, why is it that I ever did this in the first place? Because there will come a day when you are sitting there and you haven't had any sales for a couple of days and you think to yourself, why the hell did I not just stay in consistent employment? Because sometimes I do feel like that. Sometimes I'm like, why did I give up? But if you write down the exact reasons why you want to do this, then it will help you stay in control and stay motivated. It will help positive things happen to you if you have got a direction and a dream and a goal and reasons why you are actually going to do this. So write down your why and really define it. Also, if you are an artist, having a reason why you create art is really important, and that helps you market yourself. But that is something that you will evolve, and why you create your art will change constantly, and it will help you market yourself to collectors if you know exactly why you're creating the art that you want to create. But I wouldn't necessarily feel like stuck with whatever the why is that you're deciding right now, because that will change over time. I personally believe the things that you need to get actually started are really quite simple. You need to have a passion. You need to have something that you want to create and that you feel motivated to create. And you need to have some form of online presence where you can showcase your creations, and you need to have a way of being contacted. That's it. You don't need a fancy website to get started. You don't need to have everything set up. You don't need to have an email list to begin with. Just have your passion, some form of visible space, and a way that people can contact you. That's all you need. You don't need a big studio. I started with one desk in our spare room. I don't have a huge studio yet. I will do one day. You don't need to have like loads of fancy equipment. Some people start out just on their dining table. It doesn't matter where you start, you've just got to start. I would recommend social media because it's the best way of reaching like thousands of people. I would definitely recommend getting some social media because that's the best way to have a big online presence. The other thing is know your niche. Now, that doesn't mean that when you are deciding to turn this to become an artist or to have a business, it doesn't mean that whatever you decide at the beginning is what you have to stick to. But what is, I think, is important, and this is a mistake I made, I tried at the beginning to be a jack of all trades. I tried to do everything that I could draw. I tried to do it. I drew humans, I drew wildlife, as in I drew big cats, I drew pet portraits, I drew horses. Like I tried to basically do everything. I just thought I'm going to be an artist that can just draw anything. But when you are first starting out, that is very confusing and it's hard for you to market yourself if your messaging is too confusing. It's hard to market yourself if you're an established artist, if you're trying to do absolutely everything as well. So when you're first starting out, I would choose to really refine your subject and get known for just one thing. And once you're known for being one thing, then you can start to branch out and you can start to look at other areas that you want to explore. But just don't try and be a jack of all trades and don't try and do everything at once. If you're like me, you might have lots of ideas in your head. And I constantly am battling with all these ideas that I want to achieve. And what I have to do is just have to write them down and store them in a bit of a drawer in my head or put them onto my computer and just park those ideas and just focus on one thing. So, for example, if your passion in life was African animals, that could be a niche. And I would choose your niche and then think about your audience. So, if you are going to be an artist that likes to draw African animals, who is your audience going to be? Who are you targeting? And go onto social media and research those people. Find people that are interested in big animals, in African tours, animal sanctuaries for elephants, that sort of thing. Those are your audience that you are trying to reach. Or maybe you want to approach zoos in the UK. Whatever your niche is, also then think about your audience. And when you are on social media, you should be engaging with that audience and getting people interested in your artwork because you are interested in what they're doing. Social media has to be a two-way thing, and I'm really bad at this. I run out of time to connect with people and actually comment on their posts, and I need to do it more. And it's really important, especially when you're starting out and the algorithm hasn't picked up what you're doing yet. You need to be putting yourself out there to people. And that doesn't mean asking people to follow you and you'll follow them back. That does nothing. Go and find people that look like they're interested in your work. And if you are going to stick with something that's your passion, which you should do, you should be interested in what they're doing anyway. So if you love drawing big cats, for example, you will like the content from a big cat sanctuary. So for me, I love drawing horses and I love seeing videos of other people riding horses. So I comment a lot on other people's videos riding horses, not just because I'm trying to get in there. I mean, that's one agenda, but I also enjoy their content. So try and think about what your niche is, who your audience is, and start engaging with them before you've even got a huge social media presence. Just start engaging with them anyway, because first of all, it helps the algorithm see what you like, and it also helps people see you. If you're commenting, then you're suddenly becoming visible. So it helps the algorithm and it helps you get in front of people. And also it will give you inspiration for your work. That's one thing. And start creating a body of work around that niche. Again, don't try and be a jack of all trades and do lots of different things. Like, stick to one niche and create a body of work. That doesn't mean creating like 20 pieces as quickly as possible. I would definitely prioritize quality over quantity, but try and get a range. So if you are interested in drawing all sorts of animals from Africa, then make sure you've got a vast portfolio using different animals. If you want to focus on the big five cats, then make sure you've got a portfolio of images drawing those cats so that you can really show off what you can do. You might be thinking, should I get a website straight away? And I personally wouldn't, because if you're just starting out, you might not have made any money from your art yet. You will need money to buy subscriptions for things like Shopify or Wix or Squarespace or whichever website provider you go for. You will need money to have subscriptions for your email campaigns. Like, lots of these apps and online spaces where you can create stuff are free to begin with, but they're not free for much, and you can't do much with the free versions. So I would always just go back to start with social media, because that is free and you can reach a lot of people, but just make sure you've definitely got a contact email, and get a contact email that is relevant to your business. Don't just use your personal email. Get a different email. You can get a free Google email, and think about what you want your business to be called. Okay. I said in last week's podcast that originally I was Georgie Turner Designs, but that didn't, when I decided to focus on fine art, and at the beginning it was pet portraits, Georgie Turner Designs didn't really make sense, but Georgie Turner Artists made more sense. So I would think about a name that you want to be known for and try and make it as simple but catchy if possible. Make sure that it rolls off the tongue. Make sure that what name you choose is available on social media. Make sure no one else has taken the name. Put the name also into Google and see what comes up, because there might be far too many people with your name. You don't have to use your first name and your surname. You can come up with a different name, or come up with a completely business name that's not related to you at all. If you're an artist, I think it's more important to have a name that's your name, whether you've got a variation of it or whether you just use your normal name. But think about like how you want to be known, and just have a think about what your name wants to be, and make sure that you've got the ability to use that. You can also check that the domain name is free. So I made sure that Georgie Turner Artist was free before I made that my brand name. Because what you don't want to do is build a really big social media presence online with a particular name, and then come to build your website and that domain name is taken. And actually, domain names are really cheap. So you could buy the domain name before you've even built your website, and then you've bought that and it's yours and no one else can use it. Building a website does take a lot of time, and I would definitely do that whilst you're doing a work. Don't try and get your brand name sorted, get your logo sorted, build your website, build everything quietly before you actually launch your business. Because I think from my perspective, like being an artist, it's more about, you need to make connections with people, and it will take longer to connect with people, especially when you're selling something that's a bit more high tickets. Get people interested in your work before you've got like a big fancy website, because again, like I said, like it will cost you money to have that website, and to have one that is functioning and will have a good conversion rate takes a lot of time. So do that alongside whilst you're building your portfolio up. Don't try and do it all and then do a big launch. Get your online presence going first. I would do that for sure. But yeah, make sure that you've got, I think I digressed a little bit, make sure that you've got an email address or a phone number. But I think I would personally prefer email, that people can contact you with, and make sure that's not just your personal email address. You can get an email address that is suitable for your brand, that is your brand name, so that's recognizable, and that's one that you can keep. So your online social media, your domain name and your email address should all be the same name. So don't switch and change, because it'll just be too confusing for people. Also, make sure that you're creating content straight away. Film everything, show behind the scenes, really get people involved in your journey as a business from the get-go. I think one of the most exciting things about when you get started is you can use this time to really experiment with what you want to create. And of course, you've got to think about, if you want to sell your art, who am I creating for? But before you think about who you're creating for, you've got to think about what you're creating for yourself. And I can't tell you what to create. No one can tell you what to create. That's literally got to come from you. You can take inspiration from other people, but try and find something that really excites you and something that can be unique. So for me, one of my unique things is my nosy pony drawings, and that came so organically. It just came from a photo that I took of my horse. I drew my first nosy pony drawing late 2021, and then I drew my second nosy pony drawing early 2022 because I remember I had a reel go viral when I was pregnant. I don't know why I remember. I was sitting in the staff room pregnant and I was like, oh, my reel's going viral. And that's when I knew that was like something that I was really going to hone in on, was like that particular style. And I know that other people will have done that. There will be somebody out there that does something very similar, but there's billions of people on the earth. It's okay if you do something that is like somebody else, but I wouldn't just go and find somebody's ideas and just immediately copy it. Yeah, I didn't copy the nosy pony idea. That came completely organically, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who has done exactly the same, and they've probably done it organically as well, and it's just the same sort of work, and it doesn't matter. Find something that makes you unique in whatever your creative business is, and just really hone in on it and just use this time to experiment. Another thing that could be very easy to fall into is doing work for free. When I started out, I think I did work for very cheap, and it's okay to have introductory prices, especially when you're new and you're starting out and you're just trying to build that client portfolio. But don't fall into the trap of doing things for free just to get your name out there, unless doing something for free really will benefit you. For example, if you did a collaboration with an account that had a lot more followers than you and they did some posts for you, and then in return you did a drawing. Like, I still do collaborations like that now, and that's a way of, you are giving something for free, but you're also getting something back from it. So if you're thinking of doing something, giving some artwork away, make sure that there is a benefit to you, and take that advice and see it through for the rest of your business. Like, it's okay to seize opportunities and do things for free as long as there is some benefit for you in the long run. If you're just handing out freebies and there's no benefit to you, that's not, it might make you like a really nice person that you're just doing things out of the goodness of your heart, but at the same time, you've got to think about your business like a business. And if by giving out free stuff isn't actually benefiting you and making you grow, then it's just a waste of your time. You can see it as you want to see it, but I wouldn't do it. I'd make sure that there is some benefit to you and to your business. Pricing your work when you're first starting out is tricky, and you can do this strategically to begin with by simply working out what the costs are of your materials plus your time, and charging plus materials for shipping plus shipping fees, and charging your customers what you've worked out. If you find an artist that is maybe a couple of years in, that isn't too far out of your area of expertise, and compare their prices to what you feel comfortable charging. You've also got to feel comfortable charging it. And once you set your price list, make sure you stick to it. Don't offer discounts straight away. If somebody comes back to you and says, oh, I can't afford that, don't waver and keep dropping the price. I did that. I made that mistake. Yes, it might have got me a commission, but I think by holding out and sticking to your guns and sticking to your price list is better for you in the long run. Like, for now, I don't offer discounts on commissions at all. I categorically don't do it. I don't run promotions. I wouldn't do it for commissions. You can choose, obviously it depends on what you're selling. Like, you can just choose your prices. Just set an introductory price. And if you actually list your prices as introductory prices to begin with, then it gives you leeway to increase your prices quite soon after you've like maybe got a better understanding of how much time it's going to take you and how much materials are going to cost. Give yourself an introductory price and tell people that it's an introductory price, because then you've got like the ability to put your prices up within a few months rather than having to wait like a while. Further along down the line, when you've got a website and when you're building an email list, you can offer discounts as an incentive to get people on your email list. So I'm just going to finish on 5 tips that I would give you if you're in the position where you want to get started. So number 1 is start before you feel ready. And that reiterates what I said earlier, like, you don't have to wait until you've got your branding done, your website sorted, everything's set up ready to go before you actually launch your business. Just get started. And then the rest of it can come as you are working through getting your portfolio together. So just start before you feel ready. And if something feels slightly scary but slightly exciting, it's a really clear sign that you're about to do something amazing. So just go for it. There's literally no better time to start than now. Tip number 2, which I have already mentioned, is be known for one thing first and then you can branch out. Just nail a niche. Number 2 is start social media early. Make sure that you get a social media presence going and that you are just putting out behind the scenes, inspiration, anything that you want to show about your work and about your life. Businesses thrive off storytelling and connections. So getting a story out there and getting people to know the person behind the business is one of the best ways of building relationships up with your potential customers. Engage with potential customers. So that's on the social media side, is already just get out there and get speaking to people and get engaging with their content, as well as actually getting to understand your ideal customer as well, understand what their pain points are, and use what people are saying online to help you fuel your messaging for when you do start selling your artwork. And then finally, number 5, the best tip is just to learn and to adapt. You will make so many mistakes during your business journey. I've made tons of mistakes, and even this week I made a big mistake in terms of shipping, and I had a little cry. I had like my meltdown, and then afterwards I got over it and I went, right, that's another lesson learned and I will do better next time. And every time there will be so many lessons that you come across, and you just have to learn from those lessons and learn from other people. That's why I've done this podcast, because I want people to learn from me and I want to help people grow their own creative business. But find other creators online that you are inspired by, find other podcasts, and just get as much knowledge as you can. And don't forget, if something's not working and you're just feeling stuck, don't keep going on or holding on to it. You can pivot your work. You can change what you want to do. The best thing about having your own business is that you are completely in charge. If something isn't going right and you're not happy with something, you have got the autonomy to change what you're doing. And I wouldn't throw in the towel straight away. If you're stuck on something, try a few different ways of getting to that outcome. But at the end of the day, you've got the option to pivot and change what you want to do. And that's the most exciting thing about owning your own business. I never thought 4 years ago that I would be creating pastel art with smudgy techniques. That's something that's new this year. And that's because I got to a point with colour pencil. I do enjoy it still, but I don't feel like I'm getting the kind of the craving for the sort of messiness that I want. And so I pivoted, and I'm still doing the same subjects. I'm still doing horses, but I've pivoted into pastel art now. I'm still doing colour pencil as well for my commissions. Like, you are allowed to change and you are allowed to adapt. And that's what's really exciting about having your own business. So I really hope that was useful. If you have a friend or a relative who is thinking about starting their own business, would you please do me a favor and share this podcast with them? It will help me grow so much. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you have listened to this, and please don't forget to leave me a rating or a review, or both, or a comment on YouTube. I would really appreciate it, and I will speak to you next week. Thank you so much. Bye.